Hey, what's goody, Frye gang? Splatoon has become a massive hit, especially in Japan. So naturally, whenever something becomes popular, there are going to be a lot of other companies who want to collab with that. And you can kind of already see where this is going, but in this video, I wanted to go over all of the collabs between Splatoon and real life companies because I think it's interesting and not talked about enough. Now, a large part of this is going to just be covering the Splatfest, because a lot of Splatfests were actually sponsored by certain companies for certain themes, and I will be going over those. But for all of these Splatfest, I'm just going to briefly mention and talk about each of them and not go into detail to them, as they're pretty straightforward and nothing else to it. However, there are a couple of non-Splatfest collaborations that I do want to talk about and think are pretty interesting. So with that, we're going to start with all the Splatfests, all of the sponsored Splatfest from Splatoon 1 all the way up to Splatoon 3. Unfortunately, the overwhelming majority of these Splatfest, as well as the non-Splatfest collaborations, are Japan exclusive. A lot of these only happened in Japan, so naturally a lot of Westerners and just the majority of the world never even heard of these Splatfests. But to start with the Splatfests, all the sponsored Splatfests, the first one was the Japanese Red Kitsune versus Green Tanuki Splatfest, and it was sponsored by the ramen company Maruchan and was the first Splatfest to ever be sponsored in Splatoon. Next is the Japanese Lemon Tea vs Milk Tea Splatfest, and it was sponsored this time by the Japanese integrated beverages company Kirin, and is the second Splatfest to be sponsored. Next was the American Autobots vs Decepticons Splatfest, this time sponsored by American company Hasbro in their series Transformers Robots in Disguise. This is the first Splatfest to be sponsored in America and the third Splatfest to be sponsored in Japan. The Japanese Squid Sushi vs Octopus Sushi Splatfest was sponsored by the Japanese sushi restaurant chain Kura and is the fourth Splatfest to be sponsored in Splatoon. Now this next one was actually my first time ever finding out about this Splatfest, was researching this video, and I kind of popped off as I'm a very big fan of the series that this Splatfest was sponsored by. But the Splatfest in question is the Japanese Go All Out versus Focus on Healing Splatfest, was sponsored by video game developer Square Enix, makers of the Dragon Quest series, and is the fifth Splatfest to be sponsored. After that, we have the Japanese Tuna Mayonnaise versus Red Salmon Onigiri Splatfest, was sponsored by the Japanese division of 7-Eleven and is the sixth Splatfest to be sponsored in Splatoon. After this, we have the American and European SpongeBob vs Patrick Splatfest, which was sponsored by television network Nickelodeon and is the first Splatfest to be sponsored in Europe, the second Splatfest to be sponsored in America, and the seventh Splatfest to be sponsored internationally. The next is the Japanese Mushroom Mountain vs Bamboo Shoot Village Splatoon Splatfest, which was sponsored by the Japanese candy company Meiji and is the eighth Splatfest to be sponsored. After that, we have the Japanese McDonald's French Fries versus McDonald's Chicken Nuggets Splatfest in Splatoon 2, which was sponsored obviously by McDonald's. The Japanese Warm Inner Clothing versus Warm Outer Clothing Splatoon 2 Splatfest was sponsored by the Japanese clothing company Uniqlo. The next American and European Splatfest was for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, sponsored by Nickelodeon in the new series Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, themed after the four main characters of the television show, Leonardo, Raphael, Donatello, and Michelangelo. This was the second time Nickelodeon sponsored a Splatfest after the SpongeBob Splatfest in Splatoon 1. Next, there was the International Splatfest, the Hero vs. Villain Splatfest, which was a celebration for the release of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. The next Japanese Splatfest was for Hello Kitty vs. Cinnamoroll in Splatoon 2. It was sponsored by Sanrio and four of their characters, Hello Kitty, Cinnamoroll, My Melody, and Pom Pom Purin. The next international Splatfest was Super Mushroom, Super Size versus Superstar Invincibility. Splatoon 2 Splatfest was to celebrate the 35th anniversary of the Super Mario Bros. Series, and obviously themed after the Super Mushroom and the Superstar. Next, we have the first Splatfest, sponsored Splatfest for Splatoon 3. The Grass vs. Fire vs. Water Splatfest was sponsored by the Pokemon Company and their new game, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. This was the third Splatfest in the Splatoon series to be themed around the Pokemon franchise after Pokemon Red vs. Pokemon Green and Pokemon Red vs. Pokemon Blue in Splatoon 1. And now for the second Splatoon 3 Splatfest, which also counts as the most recent as of today. The Power vs. Wisdom vs. Courage Splatoon 3 Splatfest was sponsored by Nintendo and their new game, The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. And the final sponsored Splatfest, but this one was actually promoting a real world item. This was the Splatfest sponsored by Nike. And on March 15th, 2018, the Japanese Twitter account for Splatoon dropped a tweet, and it read, "It was announced that a festival would be held. The theme was Which Do You Want? Latest model versus popular model. Brought to you with the cooperation of Nike. Which do you want to get? The latest model that no one has yet, or the popular model that is loved by everyone? The period is March 24th, Saturday, 15 o'clock to March 25th, Sunday, 15 o'clock. And as for the shoes themselves that were being promoted, Team Pearl over here on the left are sporting the Air Max 270s, while Team Marina on the right are sporting the Air Max 95s. Now we get to our first non-Splatfest collaboration, and this one is with Instax. So for those of you who don't know, Instax is an instant camera, portable camera series by the company Fuji Films. And they have many different types of cameras and printers, like portable printers. And for Splatoon, they had an Instax Mini Link 2, which is an upgraded version of the original. And I think there's a special edition that was specifically for this collaboration. It's kind of hard to find specifically if this was made for the collab or not. But regardless, these Instax Mini 2s or Instax Mini Link 2 is a smartphone printer. So how this works is that you choose the picture you want from your Switch gallery, okay? And you can choose the picture to print and get the QR code. Next, you would scan the QR code with the app, the Instax Mini Printer app. You scan the QR code with the app to connect your Switch to your phone, and then you can scan the QR code on the right side of the screen to send the picture that you want to print over to your phone. And then now that it's in your phone in the app, you can print it straight off from the printer. So, and it's got an entire website too, and it looks like they also had collaborations with Animal Crossing for the release of New Horizons. And this website is actually pretty high quality, and it's got some of this very cool like interactive art on it as well. As you scroll down, the pictures start to unjumble into a pile, and then if you scroll back up, they recombine. It's very cool. I've never seen anything like that. And they also have this mini trailer, I guess, to promote this printer with the Splatoon collab. Now, there's no way to actually like view it in a full video in and of itself and like full screen, because if you click on it, it just says that the YouTube video is privated. So I kind of just have to record it like this in order to show you, but it's actually a very nice trailer for it. And along with the special edition that I mentioned earlier, it also came with a very nice Splatoon 3 silicone case, as you can see here with the Inkling. So it's just a nice little feature to commemorate the series of Splatoon and the collaboration that I had with Nintendo. Now this one is probably my favorite, and I'm actually kind of mad that this was Japan exclusive because it was actually pretty cool. So on the 1st of September 2022, Nintendo announced that they will be collaborating with Baskin Robbins to build up hype for Splatoon 3. And this was a pretty hefty collaboration. I'm just going to read the article from Nintendo Life to describe what this whole thing was about. First, they say, last month Nintendo and the US chain Cold Stone Creamery teamed up to make Kirby ice cream. This month, it's Baskin Robbins to turn Splatoon themed ice cream ahead of the imminent release of Splatoon 3. And while the Kirby ice cream sounds delicious, these ones let you decorate the sweets with blue and yellow ink. There are a number of different desserts that are on offer, from a small ice cream cake with Splatoon characters on it, to a limited edition Splatoon flavored of ice cream, Ikasu soda, and grape. Ika is the Japanese word for squid, so it's a fun play on words. Even if you don't want the squid flavor, you can get Splatoon themed cups, one of 3 designs, or a variety pack, which comes with 8 flavors and a Splatoon box. The coolest thing in our opinion is the jelly soda, which is a vibrant yellow blue lemonade float with popping candy that comes with 2 flavors of jelly to pour over the top, grape and lemon. And as you can see from these pictures, these all look amazing. Like the cups look great, the jelly packets to pour the blue and yellow over the ice cream, which it makes sense because blue and yellow, or purple and yellow, more like violet and yellow, are the main colors of Splatoon 3, so that's nice. And they were also doing even more play on words or numbers, I guess, in this case, since there was only a limited stock of all of this. Only 310 customers will be able to obtain this, and 310,000 may seem like a very specific number. And that is a play on Baskin Robbins themselves. If you look at their logo, BR, you can see right in the middle, the B and R kind of look like 31. And this is actually intentional to signify that Baskin Robbins actually has an assortment of 31 flavors. So this entire collaboration is just a play on everything, which is very in character for Splatoon, as Splatoon is a very punny play on words series. I'm so mad that this was only in Japan because I would have killed to go to a Baskin Robbins for this collaboration. The next collaboration I want to talk about is between Nintendo and ZoZoTown. So ZoZoTown is a Japanese clothing retailer, and to build up hype for Splatoon, Nintendo and ZoZoTown teamed up to release a series of Splatoon 3 apparel. This line launched online and in stores on September 13th, and fans were able to scoop up their favorite pieces until October 16th. And all of this was this year. So this just recently ended a couple months ago. However, in the collaboration, it included 14 different items that are based on clothing and styles you see in Splatoon 3. The lineup offers shirts, sweaters, sneakers, and hats, and some of them are 100% original, and I will be showing the full catalog of all of the collaborated outfits right here, as well as their prices. And the final one I want to talk about is a pretty interesting one. This one was a collaboration between Splatoon and Squid Girl, or Shunryaku Ika Musume in Japanese. In Japan, Squid Girl is a very popular anime and manga series that's been going on for quite a while, and the first sign of this collab was actually hinted at by the creator himself, Masahiro Anbe. He first posted a drawing of an Inkling girl wearing a school uniform to his Twitter account. This was then later followed by Squid Girl and Splatoon crossover artwork, again on his Twitter account, and then Nintendo finally came out for themselves and confirmed that this was indeed crossover that was happening. And this happened just a couple months after the release of Splatoon 1. And in it, we got actually some pretty nice gear with the Squid Girl hat, the Squid Girl tunic, and Squid Girl shoes. But again, sadly, this was also Japan exclusive. However, there was a lot of nice art and other things to come out of this collaboration, and I will play a little montage right here of all of the art and everything. And as far as I know, that is all of the Splatoon collaborations to date. I'm sure there are other collaborations with Splatoon outside of the game itself that I have not seen before, especially a lot of them in Japan, since most of the sponsors and collaborations are Japan only anyway. So I wouldn't be surprised if there are a couple more that I missed. But that's really about it. That's about all the collabs that I was able to find. And I think the Baskin Robbins one is my favorite. All right. Imagine how cool it would be to have those cups. All right. Just to go to Baskin Robbins to see it's Splatoon themed. You get to make your own little, like, ink your ice cream and everything. That would have been so cool. All right. If that was over here in the West, I would have been there ASAP. I would have been so quick to go see that collab, get a couple cups or whatever, and just keep them as like memorabilia. That would be so nice. But that's it. Those are all of the collabs. Pretty fun actually making this video. I like going over like non-gameplay stuff like this. So across other types of media, I think it's pretty interesting, and it's not really talked about all that much in the grand scheme of Splatoon. Since it is a video game series, it would make sense that most of the talk about it is stuff in game. But I like looking outside of the game itself and seeing stuff inspired by Splatoon or collaborating with Splatoon, referencing it, Easter eggs, all of that. So I want to do more like non-gameplay related content. So yeah, it's fun making it, and I'm sure y'all had fun watching this video. But that's it. Yeah, more content coming soon. So see you next mission and play some goddamn Splatty.